Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy, author of fantasy romance and romantic fantasy. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. I've got a very nice carrying note on the chimes this morning. Today is Tuesday, October 5th. It's the morning glory wrapped around I don't know what you call that, the dangler on the wind chimes. It's adding a little bit of a different tune. Looks like we might get a freeze next week. So, have to savor the garden while I have it. So, yeah, I was very talky yesterday. All the information. Um, and my nose is itchy today. Isn't it supposed to mean like a surprise is coming, or I forget what the superstition says. Today's very busy today. I'm going to get my hairs did. Uh, if you're on video, you can see I need it. And I also have a mani pedi today. It's unusual for me to have those on the same day. I ended up changing those around because of the NINC conference that I ended up then not going to. Still glad I made that decision. Um, Sorry that it looked like they did not have many people there. But so it goes, they were probably pretty locked into it, and that's the case. You just got to do the best you can. Still dealing with all of this. It'll be so. I know I keep saying this, but it'll be interesting to look back on this and sort of once we get some distance and process it, what we think. So yeah, I have to try to get my words in before I go do all of that. I have a couple of SIFWA meetings today too. So I'm probably going to be sitting in the parking lot in my car, um, having meetings. I was thinking about going to a coffee shop, but I don't know. I just always think it's so obnoxious when people are doing like Zoom meetings in coffee shops in public spaces. It's just, that right up there with like people who play the music on their phones or play things on their phones with the sound up. It's like you raised. I don't know what would be the modern equivalent of raised in a barn. Raised in a. I don't even know. So yesterday, Facebook was out for a huge part of the day. Facebook and a lot of their attendance services, Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus, for hours and hours and hours. And the some of the more IT savvy people in SIFWA on the Slack channel were explaining it and saying that probably what happened, or what it was sounding like happened, is they pushed out a configuration update and there was an error in it that amounted to like a missing comma. And it the analogy that one of the guys used, John Murphy's great, and he's an excellent writer too. I really enjoy him. He uh, he said it was like as if somebody had deleted a town off the map, and that they totally had the GPS coordinates for the town, but because they deleted the town off the map, the GPS would no longer work. And that they had a map, but the map was in a locker that could only be opened by the same thing that would allow them to find the map or find the town. So yeah, I guess it was a big deal. The science fiction writers were having a good time with it because it was a good example of a small error making a system responsible for a great many things fail, because the same system that stopped working was the one that allowed them to badge enter into the building. So people who were outside the building couldn't get their badges to work to get in so they could fix the problem. And people who were inside the building couldn't get into restricted areas because their badges were not working. And a lot of their collaborative software, like shared drive type stuff, wasn't working for the same reason. So it came up later after 9, later afternoon. But the IT people were all wincing in sympathy for the people. They were saying they were probably having to go around and like manually restart things one by one, which I think is a lot of things. So, yeah, that's it was interesting. Um, and then of course there's all the attendant social commentary with Facebook and Instagram, and people saying things like, well, if you notice your anxiety level going down, then that's something to pay attention to, which I didn't, but I don't look at it all that much. I was supposed to do a takeover of like the Urban Fantasy Fiends group yesterday, so that didn't happen. And actually, that did lower at least my stress level because it was like, oh, one less thing to do. I wasn't too heartbroken about that. So yeah, it's funny because everybody has to have their hot take on things, and and there were conspiracy theories too. People saying, well, maybe uh, that this has to do with Facebook, having to answer questions, being on trial for some stuff, and the new data from Instagram, which is shocking. That's my shocked Pikachu face. Um, that looking at Instagram makes teenage girls feel insecure about their appearance. It's the thing same conversation we were having about, like women's magazines in the day. You know, I enjoy following some of the Instagrammers who point out all of the like filtering and uh, adjusting of images by the Instagram influencers and how they make themselves look different than they do in real life, and it's just the next phase of photoshopping, really. I realize it's this generation's phase of photoshopping, but geez, when was it, in the 70s? Everybody was bananas about Stevie Nicks photoshopping her image for the cover of her album, and I don't know, it just feels like one of those things that is, as soon as human beings figure out how to um, develop a technology, then they figure out how to make themselves look better or seem smarter with it. Uh, it's what monkeys do. And by this, I'm not discounting the impact of Instagram. I do think it's really dangerous. And in fact, I stopped following those people who were showing a lot of um, like how the filtering works and all of that, because I could tell it was not making me happy. I was fascinated, but then I was also just upset by it. I was bothered, and I thought, and it made me think about my own body too much. I was like, geez, even that level of it. So, no, choose not to look, people. I realize that that's easier said than, but it's always an option. Uh, attendant to that. So I'm going to talk about Dragon's Daughter and the Winter Mage. So if you have not yet read it and plan to, you might bug out now because I'm going to be spoilery. Because I want to talk about something that has to do with like body image and how we think about people. And I was I was about to say I was shocked. I'm not shocked. I was dismayed to see a review that really blasted the book, like a 2-star review. I don't normally look at my reviews, right? Uh, for good reasons, and this is part of why. I went to Amazon to see if there were how many ratings there were, because I didn't do ARCs this time, and I was curious to see if there were more or less ratings so far than if I had done ARCs, advanced review copies. Um, and reader, I did not notice a difference. But I saw that it like had a 4-star rating, and that like there were a couple of low star ratings, and I was like, huh, I don't, you know, I shouldn't have looked, because I don't often get low star ratings. One of them was clearly a troll. It was the this book reads like the outline of a book. That was like a 1 star. It's like, yeah, thank you, you jealous hag, whoever you are. And I'm using hag in a genderless uh, sense. Whoever you are, that's a very standard troll comment to make. That the book reads more. I don't know. They must have picked it up from somewhere, but it's like reads more like an outline. Uh, it's like I'm not even worried about that because I know that's not true. But this other one, the reader was, and it was like a 2-star, was very, very upset about the fact that, spoilers coming, that Eisen was old. That he had been trapped in this altar realm for 50 years, and that he was, I mean, she says he's like 80. I have him in his late 70s, but potato, potato. And she felt like I had cheated Jen, that it was revolting. Um, she was she was very upset about it, and and the thing is, I knew that's why I'm saying I'm not shocked, because I knew I was making a choice. I considered making it be less time than that, but then I thought, no, I want this to be a real problem. I want this to be an extreme case. And one of the things that she complained about was that she called it insta love. And this is one of those things I think readers get in the habit of reading other reviews, and they kind of mindlessly parrot certain phrases. And they don't even know what they really mean when they say it. They just want to say that they didn't like a thing. And she says it was insta love, which is one way of saying, it's like love at first sight, or um, basically, insta love is physical attraction, people. So, one reason that even though Eisen is old, I mean, okay, he's old. But he's in, I mean, as Dorinda said, he's totally hot. I mean, he's in excellent physical condition except for an injury. And he is, you know, well muscled and all of that. But Jen, the whole point, okay, and I rarely say these things about reviews, but I feel like this is really important. The whole fucking point is that it's not insta love, that Jen falls in love with him anyway, that she falls in love with the person that he is, and that his age doesn't matter. And I'm going to put forward that if you find the fact that he is physically in his late 70s revolting, then you are being ageist. I'm sorry, that's ageism. And I'm sorry for you. Maybe you need to get to know some older people. Just going to put that out there. Oh, David's coming. I'll have to pause. Okay, he's not coming, or he didn't need me. So, the thing is, and maybe it's not fair to make a sweeping statement, but one thing I have noticed about the younger generations, and maybe it is tied in with like this Instagram thing and this acute awareness of physicality. I don't know why I just scream when I'm trying to deal with the sun coming up. Doesn't change anything. Um, I noticed that there is a lot of age phobia among the younger generations. And I think that, I mean, nobody wants to get old and die. that's, that's just, but that's part of our deal in life. And I know many men of my age and older who are vital, robust, and sexually attractive men. And your life doesn't end at 30 or 40 or whatever. And all of this I'm going to say with the caveat that if you don't enjoy reading the book, that's fine, because I'm a total believer in, that reading should spark joy. It should bring joy. And if it's not joyful to you, then totally fair. I'm sorry if it wasn't a joyful experience. But if you're revolted by Eisen being physically old, that he has aged in this time, and that it is disgusting, um, I think maybe think about that. Give it some intense thought, because you know people come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and ages. And one thing that we can all be sure of is, and its best case scenario, right, is that we are going to get older, that we are going to age. And they, as the joke goes, it beats the alternative, right? You can die young and leave a beautiful corpse if your ageism is that profound. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if there's been more than that one review, because I haven't looked. But yeah, I'm actually feeling a little defiant about this one. It's like, I'm glad I didn't back off on that one. It's and continuing the spoilers, because we've already spoiled, but this is like an extra spoiler. I did debate on whether to have him regain his youth uh, as he comes out of the altar room, and Dorinda and I talked about it to some extent. And I didn't want it to be waving a magic wand and making everything better, but I also wanted him to get back the life that was stolen from him. And to me, it was just part of the magical happy ever after. So yes, he does regain his youth, and but he's still the same person inside, right? Because who we are inside, it doesn't matter what the physical shell is, you guys. um so yeah, I but one of the things that she complained about was, she said, oh, he gains his youth in the last 10 pages, but that's not enough, because like, her getting to enjoy the mental image of Eisen being in his late 20s again wasn't enough to like feed her spank bank or something. I don't know. I don't understand it. And I normally wouldn't go on at this kind of length, and I totally respect the fact that this is her opinion, and I wouldn't say anything to her directly. Uh, it's a bit of a excursion that I'm doing it this much, but it's like, yeah, if you don't understand that it's the person inside that someone falls in love with, and that's the whole point with Jen's story, is that she needed time to. Jen had spent a lot of time searching for some kind of ideal, and she needed to find the person where the packaging didn't matter. And I think that's an important lesson. So, on that note, I will remind you all that First Cup of Coffee is part of the Frolic Media Podcast Network, and you will find more podcasts that you love at frolic.media/podcasts. And I will talk to you all on Thursday. You all take care. Sorry. Bye.